sound. I have the pleasure of being inside in a Lamborghini with Feisal, and that's the sound of the engine that it makes.
It is, and if you want to hear the sound, even better, I'll turn the radio off, of course. That's what it sounds like. It sounds better on the outside.
Yeah, fantastic. Brilliant.
To be honest. Right, away we go. You've got quite an audience here, Ian.
I can see that.
You can see that. They'll think you're a movie star.
Yeah, I'm not the guy driving, Feisal.
Well, so we're going to turn left here. So I better put my seatbelt on as well.
Okay.
Right, we go. So, Ian, welcome to our in-car interview.
Thank you very much.
And it's great to have you on board. So, have you been in one of these before?
No, I have to confess, this is the first time.
Right, okay. Tell me, what are you in?
In terms of cars?
Yes.
I drive an Audi.
An Audi? That's great, that's great. What do you know about this car then?
I know the Italians make it.
Yes.
I know it goes very fast.
It does,
And I suspect that speed ramps might be causing difficulty.
This car never goes past too fast past the speed camera. I've learned the hard way, actually. So Ian, tell us a little bit about the Premium Plus Club.
Sure. So we founded the Platinum Plus Club as a means to allow people who travel frequently a much better, almost business class experience every time they travel.
So you're marketing to travellers?
Yeah, so the background is using me as the core type of customer. Prior to COVID, which we all know, I would have spent 6 to 7 years traveling very frequently. I would be on a plane probably 3 times a month.
3 times a month? Long haul?
No, usually that typical fly out on a Tuesday, fly back on a Thursday.
Okay.
Or if I was going to the Middle East, I might extend that Sunday to Thursday. Or if I was going into New York, something similar, out on Monday, out back on Thursday. That typical, try and be home for weekends with the family. We're trying to get all my business done in that sort of Monday to Friday.
Oh, okay.
Frame.
So in terms of putting the business together, sort of what was the motivation behind putting the business together?
Motivation is, my company wasn't big enough to justify a travel management company.
Right.
And so we had to self-manage all our travel, and you realise just how inconvenient it is trying to book travel frequently.
I've been there myself.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is a bit of a nightmare. Hold on, sir.
Sure.
So it is a bit of a nightmare. I've done it myself, and you need to find time to do that. And there's nothing more boring than scouring the websites, looking for the right flight.
Absolutely. So not only do you find yourself invariably opening 2 to 3 websites for the flights, but you also repeat it again for the hotels.
Yep, that's right.
And then you forget what you looked at. So you just book the last thing out of just sheer frustration and boredom.
Indeed.
So in 2019, I got invited in to look at travel with a couple of guys and seeing if we could try and make travel an easier experience.
Okay.
And we discovered that actually within the travel community, there's sort of 2 tiers of pricing goes on. So there's the stuff we see on the retail booking sites.
For example, Booking.com.
Expedia,
Yep.
Those sites. And what we've realised is that Booking and Expedia own 80% of the online booking space.
Really?
They operate the top 12 booking engines, or booking portals between them. And also they made 39 billion in gross profit in 2019.
Profit.
Gross profit.
Gross profit. That's amazing.
It's a big number.
Huge.
So there's obviously something about this worth looking at. Now, hindsight, there was no COVID, there was no pandemic. And in 2019, the travel industry was set to be $1.9 trillion industry. So
wow.
Big
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. So when we stepped in, we looked at this, and then we realised you get this sort of 2 tiers of pricing. You get the retail price, and then you get this net price, which is a price that the industry uses to then mark up and then sell to the general public.
Sure.
The general public are prohibited from seeing those net prices as a rule. But what we found was, if you wrap it around a private members travel club, you can make those net prices available.
Which is what you do.
Which is what we do, correct.
Okay.
So our core offering is if there are a preferred discounted price available from a hotel or an airline, then our members will see that. So
wow.
We're a subscription model. We don't take booking fees. We don't take markups. We simply make those unadulterated prices available to our members.
So I'm going to ask you the big questions. How much money then? I know you can't give me a figure, but I'm guessing. Can you save me a good amount of money?
So if you take a look at some examples we look at during the week, looking at a hotel in Midtown in the US, 4-night travel in October. I'm due to go over there for some business interests in October. I can get a hotel for about £400 as a member of the Platinum Plus Club. That Booking.com would charge me £900 the same hotel. So you're talking about a 50% saving on a 4-day trip.
50% saving. Well, I have to say, as a small business, that's a big chunk of money for me.
Absolutely. So, at its core, one of the things we're trying to achieve, if I'm a small business owner, which I am, I'd like to know there's a way I might be able to interfere with, 10-15% of my total travel cost over the course of a year.
Wow.
So that's the core offering. The second side then, taking myself as the avatar, is that I wanted my travel to be a better experience.
Right.
So including in the membership, we have unlimited airport lounge access with Priority Pass.
Right.
So that means that, and over the last 7 years, I've seen the inside of 41 Priority Pass lounges.
Over the last couple of years?
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years. Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot of travel.
That is a lot.
Now, interestingly, I had the free card version, so I had to pay every time I went into.
Yes.
But I wouldn't give it a moment's thought.
Yeah.
So now that we have this for free, I know I can get every airport lounge and it's paid for as part of my membership.
Okay, so the £27 or whatever it might be that we'd have, which was a preferential rate anyway,
Yep.
we don't have to pay anymore.
Precisely.
Okay, that's good.
All right. Secondly then, in January of this year, my travel, through the annual travel insurance that I had, I got a very unwieldy, bulky letter from the insurer.
Yeah.
Telling me that thanks to my custom, but they wouldn't cover COVID, any COVID-related illnesses on my travels. And let's be honest,
any loss because of COVID, they wouldn't cover.
Correct. So given that I'm relatively healthy, the only thing that concerns me currently is COVID.
Yeah.
So we decided that we would bring in a what they call a Meeajaun membership service. So that means if I get ill or injured 500 miles from home, I get medevaced home to a hospital of my choice at no cost to me or my company. And then secondly, it's hospital to hospital, which you'll find an awful lot of the similar services are actually airport to airport, which isn't enough. And then we don't have, so it doesn't matter what caused that. So if I happen to contract COVID, they'll still let medevac me home.
Right, so this is a really important point actually. So what you're saying is with yourself, your business, your brand, your service, you'll take them from hospital to whatever hospital they wish to go to as part of what we're paying for.
Absolutely.
Well, that in itself is worth its weight in gold, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and unfortunately it's not something we ever think about.
No, of course not.
We mean, so don't get me wrong, I still buy travel insurance because that's important. But I know if you look at the clauses, anything involving insurance is all about what it doesn't cover.
Yeah, of course.
So we wanted an assurance about what we could cover.
And most people actually don't take travel insurance, A lot of people don't bother with it.
Well, I think you probably should.
You should, of course you should.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's relatively inexpensive.
But that's a real pull, though, because it's quite difficult to understand, will they actually pay out? But actually what you're saying is you're covering everything.
Correct. Also within that package, heaven forbid, we'll repatriate remains home. So if I died, my wife doesn't have any of the conveniences around getting me home. And we also have a legal service inside in that. So if I find myself in difficulty over there, I can use that same assurance to get localized legal advice in case I get into trouble. So it's a really, really nice bundled part of what we offer.
Fantastic. So I'm going to have to say, as a businessman, for me the big pull is the fact that you can save me money, and the benefit of going to these lounges around the world and being able to relax and carry on working in some sort of like degree of comfort without the hustle and bustle of the airport around me.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, we've all been there with kids trying to buy Burger Kings, and you're trying to get a half an hour's work done on a plastic chair. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I need something, a better travel experience.
Do you have any good stories you can tell us about people that have taken on your service?
Yeah, so I mean, I can give you a couple of testimonials we've had. We've had one guy in the US send me an email. He signed up on the Friday to be a member, and then on the Sunday he saved $700 on a 3-hour round trip flight out of Charlotte, and sent me an email going, "This is fantastic."
$700 saved,
yeah. And
over what period of days?
It was basically a round trip over 3 days, just for the flight.
That's a lot of money.
And then goes on to talk about saving $1,200 on a hotel suite for his family for the weekend they were heading away. So he'd saved $2,000 on the membership within 1 week.
And what would the membership cost annually?
So annually it's £1,200, or you can buy it. We have it arranged that we can create that for £120 a month.
So, but for that gentleman, for example, his whole membership was paid for.
One set of trips.
It's just one trip.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Now, what I think one very important aspect of where we come from is that we pride ourselves on our member support. So we've got 24/7 member support.
Right.
You can have you have a chat that's live. You have a phone number you can ring and speak to somebody, or you have an email address that's specifically for our members to be able to get support. And I tell you why that's important. 2 examples is a member of ours flew Dublin to San Francisco return in January. He saved $305 against United on the flight. But more importantly, while he was out there, he needed to change his flight because his travel times changed. So he contacted United. He's a frequent flyer member of United's frequent flyer program. He contacted United. They wanted $150 for the flight changes he was looking for. He came back into our member support services, and they got the same changes executed for $25. So it was $125 saved after the fact by being part of our support service.
How can you do that? How can you deliver that? I mean, don't give away too many secrets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we've got buying power.
Right.
So because we deal with for lots of people doing lots of stuff, we have the infrastructure that we get a better voice and better hearing. And I'll give an example of that. So in my own circumstance, so everything begins at home.
Yeah.
Flew over to do a podcast series. My partner Lawrence unfortunately got pinged. He failed his COVID test, so he became COVID positive. So the hotel we stayed in, we knew the cancellation policy, and therefore the refund, we weren't going to get it.
Right.
So I chanced my arm. I asked the company involved, and they said, "No, sorry, that's our that's our cancellation policy." I said, "Fair enough." So cheekily, I sent an email to our member support guys and said, "Look, I'm chancing my arm here. Any chance you could sort it out?" So they sent me an email going, "Look, first response have we back is no, but leave it with us." And 24 hours later, they sent me back an email going, "Good news, we've persuaded them to give you back your full refund."
Wow, that's fantastic.
And it cost me 3 minutes to write an email. So I don't have to waste the time on trying to get these things sorted.
Most of us would have just left it and said, "You know what, as in time-wise."
You're dead right.
Because of time.
Precisely.
You think, "You know what, I just can't be bothered." Per hour, I'd be losing money.
Yeah, it wasn't worth my while, but it was worth my while sending an email.
Oh, of course it was, yeah.
And again, it was brilliant to be able to demonstrate that, because if you can't do it for yourself, you can do it for nobody else. And then the other side of that coin, where the plus side of our business is coming in, is that if anyone who travels understands there's a quasi loneliness to it. You're stuck in the same sort of hotels no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah.
And we know that the demographic of travel is changing. So, I'm more likely to travel less frequently, but when I travel it's for a longer duration. I'm going to end up with this downtime. It could be 24 hours, 48 hours in a particular country. So we have a concierge service. I can send an email to the concierge service and say, what shows are on Broadway, what tickets can I get? And again, I'm not spending time on this whole thing. And the second side is, as we grow the Platinum Plus Club, we'll grow the network of like-minded people.
Sure.
And so if I'm in New York, or I'm in Dubai, or I'm in London, my vision is we can reach out and be able to say anybody around for a coffee, a beer, a meal, So I'm not stuck in the hotel room trying to figure out what to do for this extra 24 hours that we have. So that plus will create this international, global traveling network of people who all share similar, as you know, we're in planes, we are traveling, we are in business. And yesterday we launched the business with sponsoring the Asia Cup in polo, in the Royal Berkshire Polo in Windsor, which is why I'm in your Lamborghini today. And that was a great event. So
well, can I say I went, and it was a wonderful event, and a big thank you. That was a truly enlightening day, I think.
Yeah, and like, that's a rare thing.
Oh, totally.
You know, I mean, I don't know. Ironically, we sponsored a polo cup about 10 years ago, so I'm familiar with it. But I know at the table, I think bar one person, two people, everybody else, it was a unique experience.
It was.
So what we're going to do, we want to anchor our membership and our members to an unusual event once a quarter, stuff they wouldn't get access to on an ordinary basis. And this will be part of this privilege of being part of the Platinum Plus Club. An invite to come along, some will be paid, some will be paid for.
Yep.
And you get to enjoy, you know, just events you wouldn't do in an ordinary day.
Well, I think you mentioned it. I'd never in my life gone to a polo match. So, and it was great to meet people. And so what you're saying is there's a degree of networking there as well as the travel benefits, the discounts, but there's an element of networking in terms of what you're offering.
Yeah, because we got to enjoy travel.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds sexy if your partner, your spouse is at home going, oh, you're off in another hotel. You know, if you're a road warrior, you know just how inconvenient that can be.
Yeah.
And so if we can create this world of networking, so maybe I might change my travel. If I know that there's a Platinum Plus Club event I'd like to go to, maybe I'll rearrange my diary
Of course,
to bring in that event, in which case it becomes a little bit nicer to get away.
Fantastic. So, look, what I'm going to do now, Ian, is I'm going to try and see if I remember everything. I'm going to try and give you a summary
Brilliant.
of what I've taken from this. So, essentially, there is going to be, for me as a business owner, for example, there's clearly going to be a money-saving opportunity here when it comes to travel. And I'm guessing it's the whole package. It will be the flights, potentially, be the hotels as well.
Absolutely.
So, overall, I could look to save myself money.
Correct.
I think one thing I really do love is the support that you also mentioned, because, you know, there's nothing worse than having to sit down and book flights, find the hotel. You go to so many different websites, and, you know, from a time perspective, that is a nightmare. So I'm thinking you do that as well. But I also love the fact that this guarantee, if anything happens because of illness or, God forbid, anything worse, you will essentially take care of everything.
Absolutely, and that's vitally important. I mean, I have a great wife. I've got 4 brilliant kids. You know, and while I'm off trucking around the world, they're living day to day, or they're doing their own stuff. I really don't need that hardship to come in if something happens to me.
No, and I think, you know, all of that for £120 a month.
Yes.
Have I missed anything?
Yeah, don't forget the networking.
And the networking, of course. So that's the last bit that we talked about. Put all of that together, it sounds like quite a compelling package. Yeah,
and again, you know, I wish I had this 5 years ago when I was traveling. I know what if I rework the stuff I have, I know what will hit my bottom line as a business owner.
Yeah.
I also, you know, I know there are lots of events I'd love to have been involved in, and we've got some great ideas around, you know, track day with supercars. We're going to have a game of golf in the Belfry in Q1 next year. We're going to with some really, really interesting events that I know that I wouldn't go to in my personal capacity. So, you know, for me, it's really exciting. We're at a good time. It's been a very hard 18 months in travel. We've had the ability to spend that 18 months or 2 years building out this proposition. We have enough members to know it works because we've got some great testimonials.
Sure.
And in fact, you know, we've launched a podcast that we've had the pleasure of interviewing you for called All Things Business Travel, which also you'll start to see come out. And we want to share good news stories about travel because it's been all horrendous bad news for so long enough.
I think it has. So just my final question, if I am interested and I want to become a member,
yes,
what do I do?
You go to all the W's, Platinum Plus Club, all one word.com.
Yep.
And you'll see there, that's our website. Click to join up, or indeed just send an email to members@platinumplusclub.com. I'd love to have a conversation with you. very happy to demonstrate all of everything we do, and therefore there's no risk around trying to buy before you recognise if it's for you.
Well, we can't say more than that, can we, really?
Well, we could, but at some point it's probably say enough.
At some point you've got to stop, because I think a lot of people would maybe like to hear the engine a bit.
Oh, as would I, by the way. Yeah.
No. Well, look, Iain, thanks very much indeed. That's a really good insight into your business, into your offer, into your service. It sounds great, and let's see. Hopefully, we'll get some logins and some inquiries.
Look forward to it.
And give you something to keep you busy.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for the privilege of sitting inside this beautiful motor car, and secondly for your company yesterday at the polo.
Do you want to drive? Do you want to have a go?
I'd love to.
Shall we park up and swap seats?
I think we'll have to, absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Iain. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.